Hey, it's Jordan with Status Coup. Breaking news. It seems the end is near politically for President Biden, as the leaders of the corporate Democratic establishment have pulled out the political knives and are not messing around anymore as the Biden Titanic sinks. This from Axios, which is probably the most plugged in among Beltway outlets. Top Democrats now believe Biden will exit. Several top Democrats privately tell us the rising pressure of party congressional leaders and close friends will persuade President Biden to decide to drop out of the race as soon as this weekend. The 81-year-old president, now self-isolating with COVID, wasn't wearing a mask even after testing positive and around people, remains publicly dug in. But privately, he's resigned to mounting pressure, bad polls, and untenable scrutiny, making it impossible to continue the campaign. The private message distilled to its bluntest form: the top leaders of his party, his friends, and key donors believe he can't win, can't change public perceptions of his age and acuity, and can't deliver congressional majorities. The president is being told that if he stays in, former President Trump could win in a landslide and wipe away Biden's legacy. What a legacy it is, huh? The pressure to step aside as a candidate has been rising to intolerable levels, especially over the past few days. Democrats fully expect polls after the Republican National Convention to show a possible blowout that could bring down Democrats in Congress to, quote, his choice is to be one of history's heroes or to be sure of the fact that there'll never be a Biden presidential library. One of the president's closest friends told us, I pray he does the right thing. He's headed that way. Yesterday's Associated Press poll showed nearly 2/3 of Democrats want Biden to withdraw from the presidential race. And there were just a massive domino effect yesterday of Senate Leader Schumer. He leaked, or his office leaked, about his meeting this past weekend with Biden, where Schumer told Biden, you cannot win, and went through the horrible polls to Biden. Reportedly, Biden was defiant during that meeting. Yesterday was also reported that Speaker Pelosi held a similar meeting with Biden, telling him that he could destroy Democrats' chances of taking back the House. We're told she's also worried about donations drying up. Yes, that too. The wealthy plutocrats that have bought our government have stopped donating to Joe Biden. That's how dire the situation is, which should not be normal. We should not have a system where wealthy people buy off our politicians in both parties, but unfortunately, that's the system we have. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries delivered a similar, more subtle message, and former President Obama has spoken loudly with his silence, and his former aides are trashing Biden in public. Bill and Hillary Clinton are also silent. Bill is also silent on him lying about going to Epstein's Island, but that's another story. We increasingly hear top Biden aides, including ones who initially urged him to fight on after his disastrous debate on June 27th, 21 days ago, are saying it's now when, not if, Biden announces he's not running. Democrat insiders were hoping to avoid this. They love and respect Biden and appreciate his historic accomplishments. And if this wasn't bad enough, it looks like Biden is losing his pals, his best friends at Morning Joe. Yep, that's how you know you're being cheated on or left at the altar. This Joe Scarborough painfully this morning, all but calls for his president, his best friend, Joe Biden, who reportedly he calls and has conversations with quite often, calling for Biden essentially to drop out.
I will say, though, when you're told by members of Congress that they're losing, they're going to lose the House and the Senate if he stays on the ticket, when you're told by members of Congress who have seen the polls that you're losing swing states and that your numbers are going down in swing states, and states like Virginia, New Hampshire, New Mexico, Minnesota are now in play. And when your top fundraiser over the past 5, 6, 7, 8 years is telling you the money's gone, the donors have all gone away, you know, it's really incumbent on people that are around Joe Biden to step up at this point and help the president and help the man they love. and do the right thing. This is not going to end well if it continues to drag out. Look at the events of yesterday, the events of the last 3 weeks. And at some point, you know, I can tell you, Mike, the anger that I hear is not at Joe Biden. The anger I hear are at the people that are keeping him in a bubble.
Or who have their own interests.
Or who may have their own interests, some financial, in keeping him in the race. That is the real anger. And let me tell you, that's not just the anger from inside Congress. That is anger from inside his own political camp. And it is widespread.
Biden aides, close advisors having financial reasons to keep him steering that sinking Titanic? You don't say, Joe. You just don't say. How sad it is that in America, the calculation for whether a president or any candidate should drop out based on whether his rich donors who have purchased and corrupted our government take away the cookie jar. That's basically what this is about. The donors have stopped donating, and that's all Democrats care about. If the money is gone, they feel they can't compete. Even though Bernie Sanders and other progressives have shown you a blueprint over the last few years for competing. Small dollar donations based on exciting people, based on policies that help working people. But that's a different story. It's, shall we say, ironic that the very same establishment that 4 years ago pulled all the levers behind the scenes, Obama and Schumer and Pelosi and all of them, to get Pete to drop out, to get Amy Klobuchar to drop out, to rally everyone around Joe Biden after he won South Carolina in those 3 days before Super Tuesday. Remember, it was like a pep rally on MSNBC and CNN for 3 days. Biden down in Texas doing a rally with Pete, Amy, Beto. Reports had that Biden got nearly $100 million in free advertising from cable news in those days between South Carolina and Super Tuesday. How ironic that the same forces that got all the candidates to drop out so the corporate establishment could unify around Joe Biden to stop the tyranny of a Bernie Sanders winning the Democratic nomination. How ironic that they are all the ones taking the political knives to Joe Biden. Listen, the bottom line is I kind of believe it was a matter of if, not when. Unfortunately for Joe Biden, he cannot no longer finish sentences or articulate any case. At this point, I would call it elder abuse, what his family is doing to Joe Biden. I mean, I don't know what you could call this. He clearly should not be running anything, much less the country. I mean, just another set of polls that just came out. This from Emerson, which is a good poll. Trump up nationally by 4. Trump up in North Carolina by 7. Arizona by 7. Georgia by 6. Nevada by 5. Pennsylvania by 5. Wisconsin by 5. Michigan by 3. I mean, most of these are beyond the margin of error. And now you have, I mean, Trump with the fist in the air and the bloody ear and the assassination attempt. I mean, there is no steering away from the iceberg. The iceberg has been hit. And if these folks actually care about democracy, which unfortunately we don't have, the time is now to push this guy away from the steering wheel of the ship. Put in Kamala, put in somebody else. No, nobody will be my cup of tea. Nobody will be your cup of tea. But at least someone could articulate a sentence, could get through sentences, could prosecute a case. Remember, Trump's policies, the Republicans' policies, are wildly unpopular. Trump himself is wildly unpopular. Most independents would not naturally gravitate towards Trump. On many policies, the Democratic Party's policies, even though they're not going to fight for any of them because they're corrupt and they just say they will fight for it, but there's no evidence they will, policies for the working class are popular. I believe Kamala Harris. I don't think it's a slam dunk she could win. I think she could perform better than Biden. I think pretty much any Democrat right now could perform better than Biden. But you have to stop dragging this out. You got to get this guy to drop out. It's just a few weeks before the DNC. The time is ticking, but it looks from all accounts he will drop out, possibly within the next few days.